All right, we're back to the finals. And if you guys heard that little snickering during the stinger there, I'll give you one guess if it was me or Becky.
It's because I opened a Twitch stream and apparently there's a multiplayer
You're
ad poll.
watching a different stream
No,
while doing
I
our
have
broadcast?
no, I have this stream open actually, but the stream
Oh,
was
okay.
asking me what I wear while gaming, and it was like all men's clothing. So clearly, my ads don't know how I identify.
Okay. Well,
That's why. That's
that's
why I was snickering.
that's great. Well, then that just I wonder what your conversations are like then that your phone is secretly listening to come to that conclusion.
Yeah, it's
Okay. So we've got you know what? I haven't mentioned the player count today. I don't even know what it is. Tell me how many players we had in the event today. 226 players today,
woo.
and we're down to 2. And if you're wondering why 226 players created 9 rounds of Swiss, since that's actually the cutoff for 8, the reason is because the players that were playing in the team finals this morning were awarded buys for the rounds they missed. So a couple players got 1 buy and a couple players got 2 buys.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
when just for whoa, okay, and we're playing. So we'll just skip
Oh,
that.
no time at all. I mean, they know that our viewers at home want to see how this is going to shake
They
out, and
do.
they're wasting no time at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was actually gonna enlighten people on how that worked, and that's just gone. So here we are. Okay, Will Krueger, number 1 seed. Robert Hayes, number 2 seed. Orzhov Hammer versus 4-color Yorion. Will Krueger leads off with Memnite and Colossus Hammer. Robert
Not a
Hayes,
bad start.
not bad at all. But again, as we've talked about before, being able to start off with cheap cards is somewhat negated by your opponent having free spells, which Robert has quite a few of, and even more after boarding. So we'll see if Will can fight through that, because one thing that I've come to realize over the last few months is this Hammer deck is not only strong, it is good at rebuilding with Luris if its initial, fusillade of attacks is blown to shreds,
Yep.
as often is the case against things like Fury or Force of Vigor. So, Will Krueger, what do you have for us?
It's really kind of intense to see Will Krueger first seed, Robert Hayes second seed going into this match. Will has just been super strong on the day, showing off the tech of his deck in this core outfitter.
Yeah, Core Outfitter comes into play. I'm going to equip Colossus Hammer onto Memnite. What are you going to do about it, or else you're taking 11 damage? There it is, Core Outfitter. A common from... I don't even remember what symbol this is. I was playing at that point.
OG Zendikar, yeah.
Oh, sure. I believe you. Zendikar, that looks right. 2 mana, 2/2. When it comes to play, equip something to a creature. Good deal. Doesn't seem a lot of play since original Zendikar, but there we are. And Lightning Bolt takes down the Memnite. So Robert Hayes avoids taking 11 damage on turn 2. Will Krueger relaxes in his chair. He's like, all right, you brunted assault number 1. What do you got? Oh, and take it back. I wasn't even done yet. Here's an Ornithopter. Yeah. Be prepared
Gotta make
to
sure.
be prepared to not take damage in the air.
Yep. Colossus Hammer is so big that no flying creature can hold it whilst flying.
All right, Outfitter in for 2. Robert Hayes down to 15. And the Urza Saga, good follow-up. And Luris in the hand. Will Krueger not wasting any time. He's got his 2 card advantage engines, both preparing to make a difference.
Ooh.
And Lightning Bolt number 2
Oh
dumps
my
the Core Outfitter.
gosh.
Oh, okay, that may... I don't know if it's not a Lightning Bolt or if Will Krueger is just impressed with the artwork and wants to look
No,
at it.
it is certainly a lightning bolt, but I would feel that way as well, especially since I'm pretty sure that Robert Hayes is only playing 2 lightning bolts in the deck, and they were both in near opening hand.
All right, and an interaction that I love and wasn't aware of when I first started playing with these cards. Teferi Time Raveler bounces Urza Saga because it is an enchantment. So that is going to slightly delay Will Krueger's action. Luris in play. Cal Luris. Memnite. All right.
All right, help us out, Luris.
Yeah. So this is a lot of players we see like, oh, Luris is for late game. Will Krueger's like, I'm not messing around. This is coming in. Also, you've already played several removal spells. Maybe you're out, at least of the efficient ones. We see, I believe there's a Solitude in Robert's hand, but at least that costs him an extra card. As long
At
as there's not
least.
as long as there's not an ephemerate, in which case Will just gets swallowed up.
All right. My favorite card to be played in Modern as of recently, Mole Drifter.
All right. Multi-Drifter evoke, draw 2, goes to the graveyard. Turn being passed to Will Krueger. I think. Robert Hayes has already made a land drop. I thought, maybe not. Oh, that's right, because Will Krueger's Urza Saga has been played twice already.
Yes.
So this is actually on par with land drops.
All right. What do you got for us, Will? This Urza Saga now on its second
Now, I'm not sure there's
chapter.
actually any. Well, actually, no, there's another core effigy in the graveyard because that got bolted also, right? So that can actually
Yes.
recast here and equip the Colossus Hammer. So that's actually working in Will's favor here a little bit.
Yes, that would be very big.
Now, in order to do that, he has to give up the ability to make an Urza Saga token this turn.
Mm.
My assumption is it's probably worthwhile and that Will's going to go ahead and cast that Outfitter.
Yeah, you got to be kind of trying to go for these big things, and it does look like Will is also trying to decide exactly where the damage that he has available to him is going, potentially trying to also think of the fact that this 4-color Elementals deck has has the ability to play something like the Solitude and take out one of its creatures, and trying to plan accordingly.
But if the choice is to take advantage of Lurrus or take advantage of Urza Saga as the two sources of long-term advantage, well, Will's really giving this some thought on which one he's actually going to use, and maybe of where he's planning on attacking. He's also probably to think through, well, if there is a Solitude, how do I want to handle it, and how do I want to split my tax ups in order to push through as much damage as possible while potentially still killing Teferi. And he's going to think this through before he makes a move.
Yeah, I do appreciate taking this moment. I mean, Will is at this point for a reason, and I'm sure it comes from trying to think of every single thing that you could possibly run into at this point in the tournament.
Or maybe he's just fatigued, this being his 11th or 12th round played of the day, and he's just, sitting there thinking of song lyrics and not calculating anything at all.
That would be impressive, and that's usually what my mind starts to do when I'm tired and at the end of a day.
Okay, well, this is becoming a somewhat lengthy delay here. I mean, even though top 8 matches are untimed, slow play warnings can still be given out, and this has been a long turn, and unless the players are actually waiting for a ruling. But I think Will is just trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, Will already has kind of been put in a bad situation by the only 2 lightning bolts in Robert Hayes' deck being in his hand. So now, if you're Will, you kind of have to be like, okay, that was like kind of worst case scenario, but now what is my new worst case scenario, and just try and play and plan for those.
I mean, it's certainly fair to think things through, but if I'm in Robert Hayes' seat at this point, I would be eyeing the judge because your opponent is not allowed to take as long as they please. And okay, here it is: attack Teferi and play another Urza Saga. Play Shadow Sphere. Okay, so Will Krueger decides after some thought. It'd be interesting to hear all the factors that he weighed right there.
Yeah.
Because clearly there was, I mean, he spent, a couple minutes deciding what he wanted to do. And then we saw the outcome of that, which was Lurrus takes down Teferi. And we're going to make an Urza Saga token.
Robert Hayes still with a lot of cards in hand, and while Will's board looks pretty strong right now, is a little bit worrisome to note just the sheer amount of cards that Robert Hayes has ready.
I'm interested why the Memnite didn't attack. I wonder, the Memnite wasn't played this turn, right? He played Lurrus and replayed Memnite last turn, I think.
I'm unsure.
Yeah, I think that is what happened. Mem Knight got played last turn. So I believe facing only one untapped mana. Yeah, well, I'm sure Will Krueger was weighing factors and just considering things that we're oblivious to at the moment, and came up with this choice. All right, Risen Reef comes into play. That's a Flooded Strand. That's a Solitude, pitching it to Fairy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so a couple triggers.
A
Solitude.
couple.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's also an Ephemery in Robert Hayes' hand. So if we thought there were a few before, I think there's about to be even more.
Mm-hmm. All right, Luris gone. Will Krueger gains a little bit of life. Risen Reef trigger. Robert Hayes draws a card. Ephemery. Solitude comes into play again. Take out Ornithopter. Risen Reef draws a card, or potentially. Not this time. Land goes into play.
Into play tapped, as Risen Reef states. And all of a sudden, Will Krueger's board that previously was looking pretty hefty and stable looks not as nice.
No. A board of AMM Knight is not going to intimidate too many people. There will be some constructs coming, but those equipment are not doing much right now.
Oh.
Scratch the Shadow Spear. Okay. That was a good turn.
Yeah.
Robert Hayes still out there. Construct
Certainly.
in. Sagas increase their chapters. Walker's like, yeah, we don't need to keep playing this game. You soundly destroyed me. I apologize for taking so long earlier. Let's go to the next game. So, here we are.
Here we are.
1 or 2 games left in the day.
And an absolute heater of a hand that we got to see from Robert Hayes to kind of shore up that game and bring us to this point. Certainly going to be a difficult matchup for Will, though Will has been on a heater equally to that same degree. Robert Hayes also has been getting just the draws in some intense situations and has been looking pretty good on the day, though Will has also been having some pretty intense draws that have shored him up some matches as well. So we'll be able to take a look at their deck list right now and see if we can take a pick at exactly all those heaters that they can have flying into their hands in these matches to come. Anything you want to mention about this Orsov hammer list? I believe we've already kind of covered that Core Outfitter is Will Krueger's little bit of tech that we saw Robert Hayes take a little peek at, allowing for some of these cheaper creatures to be able to get a Colossus hammer attached to them really early on.
Yeah, so we're not going to change. I don't think we're not going to make major changes, but I would not be surprised if these Thoughtseize come in as Robert Hayes' deck is slower and it does have heavy impact cards that are, Risen Reef can be picked off, Omnath can be picked off before things get going, and if the incarnations are, like we talked about before, if the incarnations are just 2-for-1s, they're not quite as good. So I do think Thoughtseize will come in. I'm not sure if we're really interested in any of the rest of these cards. Hushbringer, Shutting Down, come to play abilities, wipes out the whole deck. We're probably going to see those too.
Yeah, and hopefully they do some big things. So let's look at the 4-color elemental deck.
All right, Robert Hayes. Now the players do have access to the deck list, so he knows he's facing Hushbringers, so he may want more targeted spell removal since he can't kill it with something like Fury or Solitude. So in addition to his Lightning Bolts, maybe we'd see the Lightning Helix come in. Maybe, Foundation Breaker, another card that come in, Force of Vigor, Injury Explosives. There are several desirable options here, but I do think Lightning Helix as Foundation Breaker and Explosive and Force of Vigor are great at slowing down the bulk of Will's deck. But as far as slowing down Will's sideboard, targeted spell removal is really what Robert wants. So I think Lightning Helix probably comes in also. So Will on the play this game. 226 players down to 2, in addition to 92 teams yesterday that played all the way down. This has been an exciting weekend here for us, NRG Gaming, passing 10,000 Twitch followers, giving away $15,000. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal, I think, for the Midwest Magic community, having this kind of money repossessed into the members' hands. I'm sure they're excited about it and being able to be part of future events like this. So we have opening hands drawn. Will Krueger looks like he's keeping.
Yeah. I also would be kind of interested to know, we saw Robert Hayes play this same deck list in your event last month, and I would be interested to know how much the deck has changed in the last month, what cards Robert Hayes has swapped up, if there's any new tech. But for the most part, it looks pretty much the same to my plain eyes, but I can't super tell without looking at 2 deck lists side by side. I don't recall that vividly.
When you style up your deck to the degree that Robert Hayes has done, you probably want to keep playing it. You don't do this if you're just casually trying a deck out. This kind of attention to detail and foils and alternate arts is for someone who enjoys this deck and wants to keep playing it. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of it is held over. And we see Robert Hayes take a mulligan and once again checks the top card. Robert Hayes, I don't know what you think you're doing there, buddy. Messing with your own psyche is what I would say. So Will Krueger will wait along with us as Robert Hayes digs himself up a new hand. I imagine he won't shuffle for too long. We're not probably going to see a 12-pile shuffle, I hope, as these players have been here all weekend long, as have the rest of us. And if you've been watching with us at home for any significant part of the last 2 days, or even if you've only been here and just showed up 5 minutes ago, thanks for being with us. We appreciate you watching. This is NRG Gaming, and this is what we do. We put on gaming events in the Midwest. Now, unfortunately, we kind of failed in our corporate mission this weekend, as if the unofficial motto of NRG Gaming is, we put on Magic events and lose money while doing it. And we didn't do that this weekend. We actually
congratulations.
Turned a profit. So, like, amazing as it may be, that's good. That gets filtered back into new events. So thanks for everyone that took part, whether you're watching at home, whether you were here playing and you're watching this on replay later on, whether you were here playing, got knocked out of the tournament, drove home, and are still watching this tournament, which is still happening. Thanks for being a part of it. Robert Hayes, are we keeping 6 cards?
Looks like it? Question mark?
That looks like a yes. We're keeping. He hasn't decided what he's putting back yet, but he's definitely keeping.
All right. And, Silent clearing Thoughtseize. Okay.
Yeah, well, I called it. I said, Will Krueger knows he doesn't have to Thoughtseize right away. He can save it for a couple turns into the game. And here it is on turn 1. Okay. So it looks like 2 Fury and an Ephemerate and some lands.
Yeah, Will, very excited to take a peek at Robert Hayes' opening hand, as the last opening hand that Robert Hayes had was absolutely insane. Looks like we're seeing some lands, a Lightning Bolt, an Ephemerate, and a Fury as the 6.
You are right.
A Lightning Bolt.
I was misspoke. I thought it was 2 Furies, but you're right. One of those is Lightning Bolt, and that is the selection. We're going to diligently write down the remaining cards in Robert's hand. And then we'll see if he's actually going to play a 0-drop creature. And he is.
Of course. Good old Memnite. And I believe this one is Windswept Heath, though I'm not sure, and I don't know why I started to sing it almost, but we're going to save everyone's ears from that.
Yeah, not only do we be able to tell what land it is by looking at it, but even because of the way these lands work and triumphs and everything, after he fetches, we're still not going to know what it is.
Exactly.
If he fetches a basic, we'll be able to narrow it down, but I don't expect that to happen. As well adds a second Memnite to the board, as well as a Sigarda's Aid, but Will does not appear to have a second land.
All right, this one I think is a Rogran Triumph final. No, it's not a Rogran Triumph. That's wrong. I don't know. Maybe it is. Yes, it is. I think
you're right.
I think it is. Okay.
I think it is a Rogran Triumph.
I'm sitting with my head at 90 degrees. I want you all to know, trying to figure out what these arts are.
Yeah, Becky's giving it her all. Okay, that one is a Hallowed Fountain. That's the Fury, pitching a
Pitch to
Fury.
their Fury. Oh no.
Obliterate your board, ephemerate just so I can have a double checker in play. And Robert Hayes
Oh no.
has expended a lot of resources here. And there's Flamekin Harbinger.
Just to make sure that we draw exactly the elemental that we want on the next turn.
Yeah. Would have been nice to potentially get something like Risen Reef in play first, but Robert Hayes decides, you know what, I can't wait. I could actually get killed. So let's play it safe. Let's clear the creatures out now. Well, Will Krueger stuck on mana, and then Foundation Breaker can take out Sigarda's Aid, leaving Will Krueger with several cards in hand, but not able to do very much with them.
Jeez. And stuck on a lands, but able to get another silent clearing, so able to play some lands, but not at the expense of Will Krueger's life total.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Stoneforge Mystic fetches up Shadow Spirit. Now, the Ephemerate is looming for Hayes. If he blinks the Fury, he can kill Stoneforge, but he gives up an attack for 6. If he blinks the Harbinger, that wouldn't actually do anything unless he changes his mind on what card he wants to tutor for, because he could replace the Foundation Breaker with something else.
Mm-hmm.
He does blink the Fury, wipe out the Stoneforge, and play Cavern, and we know the Foundation Breaker is the card in hand. Will Krueger also knows it, obviously, and was going to just toss his Sigarda's Aid in the trash, but Robert's like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to hold off and see if I can just hardcast this boy instead of pitching another card or not having another card to pitch with it. Flaming Harbinger gets in for 1. And Kahira joins the hand.
All right. At least we found a land for Will, so not stumbling on a land drops anymore after that second turn fully, but 3 cards in hand, I believe 2 to 3 cards in hand for Robert Hayes as well. And with just a Sigarda's Aid in play for Will, this is going to be an interesting situation and interesting decision tree of exactly what needs to happen to keep something on this board.
Yeah, so, and Will has full information on Robert's hand. He knows it's Foundation Breaker plus the other card that was tutored up.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, Becky?
Core Outfitter. What?
It's Kahira. It's Kahira that's the other card that was.
Kahira. Oh, Kahira is in the. I thought you were the one that was just played. My bad.
No, I was looking for you to rescue me because I forgot the name of the companion briefly, but we remembered. It's Kahira and Foundation Breaker, where Robert Hayes' cards plus the draw for the turn.
It looks like we will. Yep.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Well. Oh, geez.
So the other fun part about Sigarda's Aid's wording, oh no.
Yeah, you're right. All equipment get flash. All your equipment get flash, and that was great. Except Robert Hayes' one unknown card. The draw for the turn was Emerate. So that exploded Will's plan of having a 12/12 core outfitter, and now we're back to 5 life, and that's it. And Robert Hayes takes it down. Robert Hayes wins the Modern 5K, defeating Will Krueger in the finals.
Whew.
Coming in 2nd seed overall, defeating number 1 seed. Congratulations to Robert Hayes and 4-color elementals.
Yep,
all
congratulations indeed.
We're going to see if we can get Robert over here to talk to us, but before we do that, let's see if we can pop up his tournament path if we have that available. We can. Okay, we're going to work on that in the meantime. So 4-color elementals wins the tournament. Now, that's certainly, I would say that deck was not a favorite if you look at the field, but are we shocked that deck was able to do well? I would say no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we kind of got to see exactly how it plays against a lot of the Orzhov Hammer strategies, and I think that it's very strong against that. That was one of the big decks that was brought to the table. Something like Burn was something that was pretty popular as well, and there's a lot of just incidental life gain that these elementals have to offer. So in the end, am I very surprised about it? Depending on what it was that was Robert Hayes' tournament path, no. Because it does seem like this is the kind of deck that where matchup is bad, it's really bad. And if its matchup
Mhm.
is good, it's good. And then it gets to play a lot of the fun, just like counter spells and try to like save itself in a lot of these sideboard games while just having like one of the kind of strongest, most baseline mid-range game ones with an abundance of free spells that nobody can really complain about.
Yeah, and the card advantage of this deck is just awesome. It's
Insane.
just awesome. Just Risen Reef, Omnath. So sick. Both of those cards are great. At worst, I mean, if they resolve, at worst, they're replacing themselves. And yes, we don't have the tournament path, but we do know how things played out at the end. Robert with taking down Will Krueger, who just saw walk by. Will Krueger kind of dominating the Nerd Rage series this year, but not today.
Mm-hmm.
Robert and the 4-color Elementals deck led by Kahira. Well, who is the leader of the Elementals deck? Who would you even say?
Who?
Well, you know what? We'll ask Robert.
Yeah,
If we
that's a
can
good
get him over
question
here.
for Robert. Robert probably has
Yeah.
more stake in that question and answer than either of
Yeah.
us do.
Yeah, he does. All right, so while we get him situated here, we want to thank you guys all for watching. Stick around to see the interview, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll be back in December, 2 weeks. We've got Legacy on December 11th, Modern on December 12th, and now I think we're ready. We've got him in the booth. Robert, how you doing? We'll wait for the camera to switch over.
Still a little in disbelief.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, so tell me why you surprised. Are you surprised that you won, or are you surprised that Elementals won? What are you in disbelief about?
No, so I have confidence in myself as a player.
Okay.
And I think the deck is busted.
Okay.
Like I think it has a lot of fantastic matchups right now.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It just seems all so surreal.
Okay.
You know? I kind of have not had a tremendous amount of success in large events in the past, but deck
Mhm.
I've really been jamming away, playing the same thing for the meta, and
Mhm.
and I feel like the hard work is paying off.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, 226 players showed up today. You are on top.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. So that's a solid performance. Not a solid performance. That's an understatement. It's a great performance. Awesome weekend here. We had a team event yesterday, Modern today. You how are you looking on the leaderboard? Do you know? You have a decent amount of points, or
Yeah,
you?
I think this puts me at 41 points.
Okay.
For the event.
So let's
maybe more. Had one win and then Legacy and then a team.
Okay, so you're looking good to be in the championship.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That'd be cool to see you there. Looking for 16-player event, kind of exclusive event, working on multiple formats. That's upcoming in January. So definitely make an appointment to watch that, you guys, and for you to be there. So Beky, you have a question for Robert?
Yeah, I want to know what is ultimately keeping you on this deck, and if you made any changes to the deck between when you played it at the last tournament and going into this tournament.
Yeah, so I think the deck has a lot of fantastic matchups right now. Like I think that the blue-red deck is as close to a buy as you can get.
That's a good place to be.
The Hammer Time deck is a good matchup.
Mhm.
As it's funny to kind of side note here for a little bit. When I started playing this deck, I played at the Hunter Burton Memorial Open in Dallas,
Mhm.
and like kind of the first large event that I played the deck, and I went like 5-2. My 2 losses to Hammer Time, and then played in the event the next day and was knocked out. Took my second loss, both to Hammer Time.
Really?
So I changed the deck, added a Force of Vigors.
Mhm.
I think at the time people were playing more Foundation Breakers, but I added Force of Vigors. I added, I had the 1 Foundation Breaker. I'd put 2 Lightning Bolts in the main instead of 2 Prismatic Endings to have a little bit more interaction on their turn to stop the hammer equips.
And we saw that, I believe, in the finals. You had 2 lightning bolts. Was it game 2?
Yeah,
right
Lightning
off the bat?
Bolts been fantastic.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I had the Engineered Explosives for a while. I was trying out Wear and Tear, but it didn't really work out. But I have 6 dedicated sideboard slots, like specifically for the Hammer Time matchup, because even though it feels and looks like a good matchup on paper, the deck can kill you out of nowhere. So you have to have something in your hand all the time.
Mhm.
So I just load up on hate or interaction, and it plays out. Like, because eventually they'll run out of interaction, and you can solitude their Luris, and the game just kind of ends.
Mhm.
Um,
And I think that's exactly what we saw happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. You had to plan, and it worked out. It developed the way you expected, and you were able to take it down. So defeating Will Krueger, I mean, he is no slouch on this series. He's doing really well,
player.
and you wiped him out. So so the question I think that the viewers at home want to know is we've got Omnath, Risen Reef, Solitude, Fury. We got Kahira as the companion. Who's the captain of the Elementals deck?
It's definitely Risen Reef.
Is it definitely Risen Reef?
Risen Reef is definitely he's wearing the helmet. Yeah,
Okay.
He's carrying the shield. If I could get it altered with a Captain America shield, that'd be it. But he the changes I made since last time were 2 subtleties and a dress down.
Okay.
The other elemental matchups, like the 4-color control decks and various other, Fury, Solitude, Omnath decks, have been popping up more lately. And so I kind of wanted to have a dress down to have something else in that matchup, and the subtleties help a little bit there too. But really, it was the emergence of the Primeval Titans after Vegas. I played a league, a couple of Moto leagues, and just got demolished by Cultivator Colossus. Like, it wasn't close. If that card resolves, the game basically ends on the spot. So Solitude series weren't enough. I really needed something to stop that card, and dress down's really good. Obviously, it just dies and never triggers. And then
that's pretty good.
And yeah, it's pretty good.
2-mana removal spell.
Yeah.
Cantrip.
Yeah, it
works.
It replaces itself. Everything in the deck replaces itself.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So yeah, I mean, those were I cut an endurance because a lot of the blue-red matchup is already really good, and endurance is just kind of a free roll there, so you don't really need the third one. And the reanimator style decks have kind of fallen off. So I didn't really think I wanted to cut almost all the endurances, but it was talked out of it. And I think, endurance for the most part deserves a spot in the deck. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the changes. I think I cut 2 Blossoming Calms. I was playing those in the sideboard for burn because it's probably one of the worst matchups. At least it was. Or I got really unlucky. I mean, Omnath is fantastic against burn, but I've only played against the deck a couple of times, and it's been really close. So I wanted Blossoming Calm just to kind of shore it up, and since then it was great. But Lightning Helix is pretty good. So
yeah, well, congratulations, man. It is awesome to have a champion who really knows what he's talking about. It doesn't sound like this was a fluke that went your way. It sounds like you put in the work and you earned this. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
I've done a lot of work on the deck.
Yeah.
As you can see by the cards, the actual cards I'm playing.
Yeah, and you know what you're talking about. That's nice to hear. Good for you. So this is our champion, Robert. Thanks for being here. We'll see you around. We'll see you at the next event. See you in Milwaukee in 2 weeks.
Yep, I'll be there.
All right, excellent.
Congratulations.
All right, so that's going to be pretty much the wrap of our show this weekend. For owner Norman Cohen, tech advisor and judge chief Max Kahn, for everybody involved, our guests Beky Bell, Shane Downey, and Eli Loveman, for our producer Chris and great staff. We thank you for watching. We thank you for playing, and we will see you in 2 weeks.